Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. I want to go to the Wall Street Journal because this one PO'd me. Get ready to unpack for airport security. Oh yeah, as if it's not bad enough. Travelers should expect new procedures at TSA checkpoints later this year, with more carry-on items like food and tablets separated into bins, because it's not already bad enough. And, you know, I'm of the opinion that all TSA people aren't bad people. As a matter of fact, if you go to the airport, you'll often find out that they're very nice people, but they're automatons. They do what they're told. Now, Scott McCartney says, changes are coming to an airport security checkpoint. TSA wants to declutter your bags. New procedures such as requiring all foods or electronics larger than cell phones be placed in bins separately. Changes have not yet been finalized, but senior TSA officials agreed to discuss them publicly for the first time. Decisions will be made in a few weeks with new rules implemented after the summer travel rush. And of course, you got to train the screeners and you got to make the announcements. Now, they're running tests in smaller airports like Colorado Springs, Boise, Idaho, Lubbock, Texas, Phoenix, and some of the larger airports in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Boston. And the results have not been encouraging. Many of the screeners have been confused by the unusual procedures. As a matter of fact, in Kansas City, Missouri, in early May, screeners forced passengers to remove all paper from bags down to notepads. That test didn't go well and was halted after a few days. Now, Darby LaJoy, assistant administrator for security operations, said this: it has to be efficient and it has to be effective. Oh, there you go. It's rocket science right there. He says, we're far enough along that I'm optimistic that what we are piloting is working. Now, the more intrusive security checkpoints out there has to, at least it makes me ask the question, why? Why is there a need for increased airport security? I want to go over some interesting statistics. They're a little bit old, but they are relevant nonetheless. And it has to do with the terrorism statistics that everybody needs to hear. And Washington's blog came out with this in 2014. And they cite statistics from 2011 and 2012. But I want to go over this with you right now because this is important. They talk about the imminent danger of terrorist attacks here in the United States or terrorist attacks abroad, and how Americans are under direct threat from these terrorist attacks. And we look at the news feed and we see the events that, of course, have just unfolded in Manchester. And of course, our hearts go out to all the people that were killed there. I've also heard the terms hoax and false flag being used as the same thing. Folks, we need to separate the terminology. You cannot call a false flag a hoax and a hoax a false flag. They're two totally different things. False flags happen because there's an agenda. It's not a hoax. It happened. An attack happened. However, it was done so by somebody else. It was made to look as if somebody else did it. And that's the whole purpose of a false flag. So that maybe another government or another individual will be blamed for the actions of, say, the American government. A hoax is simply a hoax. It didn't happen. It's a joke. Ha ha ha. Or they tried to pull one over on us. We've seen that happen before too, but they're two totally different things and we need to separate them. That's number one. Now, McClatchy reported in 2010 that there were just 25 U.S. non-combatant fatalities for terrorism worldwide. The U.S. government definition of terrorism excludes attacks on U.S. military personnel, just so everybody knows. And while we don't have the figures in hand, undoubtedly more American citizens died overseas from traffic accidents or intestinal illnesses than from terrorism. Now, the March 2011 Harper's Index noted this: the number of American civilians who died worldwide in a terrorist attack last year, 8. Minimum number who died after being struck by lightning, 29. Let's put it in perspective. Because the lead cause of death for Americans traveling abroad is not terrorism or murder or even crime of any type. Believe it or not, it's car crashes. That's right. With the exception of the Philippines, more Americans died from road crashes in all of the 160 countries surveyed than from homicides. Okay, so it's not even crime that actually kills more people. People kill more people. Now, the U.S. Department of State reports that only 17 U.S. citizens were killed worldwide as a result of terrorism in 2011. That figure includes deaths in Afghanistan, Iraq, and other theaters of war. In contrast, the American agency which tracks health-related issues, the U.S. Center for Disease Control, rounds up the most prevalent causes of death in the United States. I want to go over some of those with you right now, just to put it in perspective. Remember, we want to keep that number 17 in our head, 17, okay? In 2011, 17 Americans died as a result of a terrorist attack. Now, disease from heart disease, okay? Death by heart disease. The death, 596,339. Malignant neoplasms, 575,313. How about chronic lower respiratory disease? That killed 143,382 Americans. Accidents or unintentional injuries caused 128,931 deaths. Alzheimer's killed over 84,000 people. Diabetes, 73,000. Influenza and pneumonia, 53,000. Nephritis, that is kidney disease, 38,000. Let's see here. Ooh, suicide, 35,000. That's right. Parkinson's killed 23,000 people in 2011. 17 people died as a result of a terrorist attack. Now, you compare those CDC numbers to terrorism. Keep in mind that from here to we're going to be substantially understating the risk of other causes of death compared to terrorism, because we're comparing deaths from various causes within the United States against deaths from terrorism attacks worldwide. So we're talking about deaths in the U.S. versus worldwide terrorism deaths for Americans, right? So you're 35,079 times more likely to die from heart disease in a terrorist attack. You're 33,842 times more likely to die from cancer. Now, obesity is also a contributing factor in deaths, somewhere between 100 and 400,000 deaths in the United States per year. So that makes obesity 5,882 to 23,528 times more likely that you'll be killed by a terrorist. Let's go with some more rare types of death, okay? So the CDC says that some 80,000 deaths each year are attributed to excessive alcohol use. So according to the CDC, you're 4,706 times more likely to drink yourself to death than to die as a result of terrorism. Just so everybody knows. Now, automobile accidents, 32,367 deaths as a result of automobile accidents in 2011. That means that you're 1,904 times more likely to die from a car accident than a terrorist attack. And it goes on and on. You know, suicide. You're 2,059 times more likely that you'll die by suicide, that you'll kill yourself, than you'll die at the hands of a terrorist. HIV accounted for 7,638 deaths, 45 from syphilis. So you're 452 times more likely to die from risky sexual behavior than terrorism. And the National Safety Council reports that more than 6,000 Americans die a year from falls. Most of them involving people falling off a roof or a ladder to clean their gutters or putting up Christmas lights. So according to these statistics, you're 353 times more likely to fall to your death doing something idiotic than dying in a terrorist attack. And I could go on and on. By the way, 155 American police officers killed in 2011, meaning, 155 Americans killed by police officers. This is a heavy statistic. This is in 2011. That means that you're 9 times more likely to be killed by a law enforcement officer than you are by a terrorist. The same people that are responsible for keeping you safe. You're 9 times more likely to die at their hands than a terrorist. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's news shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great day, everybody.